Alrighty, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Certainly hope you are having a good one. It is Sunday. It is September 1st. Well, I got to change my calendar over. Wow, September 1st. And yeah, we're getting there, but we have hit September. So this is a month. Big shout out to Hip Hop Gamer. This is the month that when Hip Hop was a guest on the show, just a wonderful guest, wonderful person. Big shout out to him. He said that this is the month. He rated this out of 10 as far as getting things from information from Sony. That he rated it an 8, but he called it a 10 when he equals the 8 to what's going to happen at Jeff Keighley's Gaming Show Awards. So I'm not sure when the Gaming Awards is. I know it's in December, but and Keighley put out something. I can't say it was weird, but Keeley put out something the other day having to do with some announcements at his show. So I'm looking forward to that show in the sense of some of the games that will be announced. I'm waiting on the yearly update from the game Exodus. It'll be 1 year in December when we first saw that. But I certainly hope you are having a good weekend. We're in the midst of college football. I certainly hope your favorite team or teams that you pull for, root for. I certainly hope that that those teams played well and they won. So again, I was rooting for Louisville and Miami yesterday. Louisville covered. Miami was like a 2.5 point favorite, and I took Miami and they won the game handily. I forgot what the final spread was, but they won. But yeah, and Louisville won. They beat Austin Peay. They pretty much beat Austin Peay like they owed money to them. So again. Louisville's a team I use on the college football game. That's who I won the national championship with. So yeah, fun times by golly. And but now we'll get into it here. Got a couple of things to talk about. Got a couple of opinion based art shows here today on this little short stack. I gotta go get my hair cut in a few hours and do laundry. So and I want to spend the day playing on my PSVR, which is 1 week old today, and I want to just kind of play around, play with it. I'm gonna play I'll play a little bit of Resident Evil. I'm trying to figure out how to stream on it. So if anybody knows how to stream on it, let me know. Still trying, and I got Star Wars Outlaws, and I'll start with Star Wars Outlaws. Let me give a big shout out to the people that are here now. Let me kind of go over to this different board to see things. Okay. So Briaris is in the house, PS5 Pro. Yeah, this is the month we're going to get some information. According to a lot of people, Hip Hop Gamer, I know myself, I was told early September. So early to mid September expected. The first 48 gaming is in the house. Briaris is here. Alexander E, always a supporter. Appreciate you. Monty White. So yeah, shout out to you all that are here. Make sure you share the video. That's all we're asking you all to do. Share the video and hit the like button. I've been told that some people are telling you if you don't hit the like button and you don't share their video, that their podcast may slow down. I mean, so again, I do this for a hobby. I like talking to you guys. I appreciate you all being here, and we'll just go ahead and get into it. So, but I'll start with an added-on topic, which is Concord not doing well. So, this is being looked at two different ways. I'll simply tell you about Concord. Concord was in development before Sony bought Sony. Put a 1 in the chat if you understand what I'm about to say. Concord was in development when Sony bought Firewalk Studio. So this has. Okay, Sony. I'm gonna say that again. Concord was in development before Sony bought the studio. It's the same. We can look at another game called Returnal. Returnal is done by Housemarque. Housemarque was already developing Returnal when Sony went out and bought them. So like they were almost finished with it. But that's what happened. So what has happened is there's a group of people that have been upset and angry ever since The Last of Us Part 2 factions got canceled. They literally are saying, well, they canceled factions because of Concord. And it's like, no, they canceled the Concord again was already being made. It was I don't know whether it was 60% done or whenever they bought Firewalk Studios. Let me see if we can find out here. Alexa, when did Sony buy Firewalk Studios?
Sony acquired Firewalk Studios on April 20th, 2023.
All right. So what I want you all to really understand this. What people are saying is that as soon as Sony bought this studio, this game was done in under a year. I mean, a year and some months. A year and what? 5 months? April, May, June, July. Oh yeah, a year and 7 months. I really want you to understand: does that make any sense to you? If let me know. Make sure you're awake out there. They bought this studio and this game was already 1 year out. So this game had already, and they spent anywhere from 5 to 6 years developing it. Now, I played the demo. I want to make this clear. I do not have the game. I played the demo. And I thought the demo was just the issue that I have with all those type of games is that you're just doing the same thing. It's not, the problem is that, for me personally, I'm only speaking for myself here. My issue with games like that is that they don't do anything different than what we did years ago. It looks different. It sounds different. I'm not here to say that, and I want to make sure I say this. If you're having fun playing the game, that's all that matters. I don't look at the Steam charts. It was in the top 50 for PlayStation games. And again, Sony has said publicly that they would make, a whole bunch of games like that, and they realize that some of them are going to fail. So let's look at the live service games that Sony has put out this year. Let's just count them, okay? Let's count them. Helldivers 2 has been successful. That's a successful gas game. Major League Baseball, the show, they count that as a gas game. That's been successful as well. That is sold very well. Gran Turismo is another gas game that they have that's done very well. All right. Then you have Concord. Concord has not done well. So 3 out of 4, they're batting 75% this year. And we already know next year one of their gas games is MLB The Show. We already know that. So we know that's coming. And we also know there's a very good chance that Fair Games is coming. So that's by Haven Studio. And again, shout out to Porter Rock. What he said over a year ago was that Sony, when they buy, and the Destiny game, I'm sorry. So again, Destiny, what was the name of that? The Final Shape or the Final Cake or something final. Shape something. Shape Shifter, whatever it is. That did well also, according to the people who played Destiny. All right? So I'm going off of what the people who played Destiny said about the game. That game did well. So they hit on 4 out of 5 games. They came out with 5 gas games. They hit on 4 of the 5. So that's what they're doing. That's this year. That is this year. And so if you were to go back to your boss and say, hey, and I guess it's Herman Holtz. Hey, Herman. Hey, Tataka-san. I think if I mispronounce his name, I do apologize. If you were to go to them and say, hey, we released 5 of these games as a service in 2020. We started in 2020. Yeah, 2024. We released 5 gas games. We hit on 4 of the 5. Now, you prefer to be able to go say, I hit on 5 of 5. You play baseball, you get 5 at bats. You want to get 5 hits. But they got 4 hits. Guess what? That's over 88%, I believe. Let me see if we can check here. Let's see here. What is? All right, hold on. Let me ask Alexa. Alexa, what is 4% of 5?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
All
4%
right.
of what?
Let me just do it on here. Let me go here. What is all right? What percent is 4/5? Let's look at our number here. 80%. They hit on 80% of their games that are gas games. So that equals 8 out of 10. And I'm just looking at it here. Let me see if I can put this up on the screen so you all see how my math is mathing. Let me see here. Let me pull that back up. There we go. So let me go over here. Let me go to. Gotta add the source. Add screen capture. Make that small. And we'll just go right here. And there you go, 80%. There you see what percentage is 4 out of 5. 80%. So that's a win. That's a winning number. 80%, 4 out of 5. Now, you're not in the Army, so if you got to take out all 5 targets and you only take out 4, your mission can be considered, they'll consider your mission a success, but ultimately a failure. It's like Apollo 13. Their mission was considered a successful failure. Successful in the fact that they launched, successful in the fact that they went into their lunar lander, but failing where they didn't land on the moon. So did Concord do what Sony wanted them to do? Probably not. But the other 4 out of 5 games did, and they will be happy with that. What this comes down to is a group of people who they wanted a game called The Last of Us Factions. All right? They called the game, they want The Last of Us Factions, okay? They wanted that game. Also, let's just be honest here. There are people in the Xbox camp that want that game to go to Xbox as well. They just want it, Sony just needs to put that game over here. I've had that conversation in the last 72 hours. Why can't Sony just put the game on Xbox? We'll play. They can just put it in Game Pass. We'll play. We'll get those numbers up because that's what we do. We play these type of games. That's coming from them. But I want to concentrate more on the quote-unquote ponies who, again, let me make this clear. They had to hold their nuts when Helldivers came out. It was a success. So, again, they rolled that wave. MBG, Marlin Gaming Nation, all these guys, okay? Let me tell you who your true fans are. The true fans are the ones like I just did that can process. Well, they hit on 8 out of 10. They hit on 8 out of 10. Yes, Alexander, I'm going to set that podcast up for tonight at 8:30. That's what I do on Sunday night. So, but that's where we're at. So, but here's what they don't understand. Here's what they don't understand. Number one, that game is an arena shooter, and arena shooters don't track well anyway. Number two, those games are going to fail most times. And people were talking about PUBG, and there was another game that came out that was just like PUBG that didn't do as well. Sony had it as a I can't think of the name. I've actually played it with some people online, and it was funny. It was funny. So, yeah, First 48 Gaming. I was told that Spider-Man 2 didn't even make its money back, even though Sony has came out and told its investors and told the public it made its money back and then some. However, they don't like the fact that the game went over budget. They went over budget by like $54 million. They did not want to have to pay $340 or $350 million. Well, again, the movie, the whatever it was, Can't Go Home. They had all the Spider-Man in it, and again, that had an Oscar nominated actor in Andrew Garfield. You had Andrea Molina in it. You had stars in it, right? You had stars. Melissa Torme, Jon Favreau of The Mandalorian, Jon Favreau of, I'm directing The Mandalorian. That's Jon Favreau. Their movie to make was only $240 million. So if they can make a movie stem to stern, that means everything is done. 240 million and you got to do a video game that goes 100 million over that, yeah, at that point Sony does need to step in and say that, yeah, H1Z1, thanks. Yeah, that why didn't that game do well? I'm not here to defend the game not doing well. I'm here to say that most of these games don't do well. Thank you for the H1Z1. Concord is their H1Z1. And I'm not here to say to defend the game. I'm not here to say the game was good or bad because I haven't played the game since the demo. There's people saying it should have just been a free-to-play game. There is no such thing as free-to-play anymore. We're going to be talking, that's why I put my prices up for the PlayStation. You all better get it ready. Jon Favreau, actual creator of the MCU. Yeah, he was in, he plays Happy Hogan in the MCU. That's who plays Happy Hogan. That's Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau also was in a movie called Deep Impact. And he plays the astronaut that died on the meteor. And don't get that confused with Armageddon. Armageddon came out after Deep Impact. It came out the same year as 94, I believe. 94, 95. But it was the same movie. One was an asteroid, one was a comet. That was the difference. They each had to land ships on the asteroid and or comet, drill, and then blow them up. That was their job. So they had that. So they had an actor director. They had an extremely successful actor. They had I keep on wanting to say Rutger Hauer. It's not him. The guy that plays the Green Goblin. He's in it. He is accomplished. He's a very accomplished actor. So again, my point to you was the budget. That's why Sony came in and said, yeah, okay, we like the success here, but we got to get our budgets back in order. We're going to get our budgets back in order. So I've already answered that, Alexandra. I've already answered that. So I'm doing that tonight at 8:30 Eastern Time. I'm off tomorrow, like a lot of you all. I'm off, so I will be able to do that. Kind of stay up a little bit if you all have questions, but that's for later tonight. Okay. Yeah, I should have gotten that podcast ready as well, but I didn't. I just woke up at like 8:50. But so that's where we're at with this. But here's what they don't know. Let me give you my opinion. I believe, this is my opinion, so I'm gonna start this with I believe. I believe because Concord failed and is a failure, that the Last of Us Part 2 factions that was put on ice, now it will never come out. So they're celebrating. Again, they're celebrating because they're looking at it like Concord got chosen over The Last of Us Part 2. What's real is that Concord was already 80% done when Sony bought Firewalk. Just as Housemarque Studio, let's see when Sony Housemarque Studio made a game called Returnal, and Returnal was already in production when Sony bought Housemarque. So why would they cancel? They didn't cancel Returnal. Why would they cancel Concord? It's like, yeah, we still want to buy the studio, and the studio probably more than likely, my opinion, said to them, we will agree to a contract, but you got to help us finish this game. And again, I played the game. The game was okay. It's just not my type of game. I don't believe in putting on a headset and calling in the B2 and getting one-man army. These games have not changed since I was gaming in the 90s. Okay, they have not changed. We did that already. We had a game called Descent. Just imagine playing Concord with a spaceship in an arena. That's what we're doing. Now again, I've seen people playing it, and people are like, yeah, this is a fun game. So people aren't saying the game isn't a good game. They're not saying the game isn't fun. They're saying that they don't like the game. And again, these guys are celebrating. And guess what? Now you'll never get The Last of Us, because why would Sony now put whatever into The Last of Us Part 2 when you didn't even go buy Concord? So their next gas game will be Fair Games. That's what it's going to be. As far as all these other games, Killzone, and then, heard a guy like MBG saying like Sony just needs to make what we want. But guys like MBG represent the vast minority of gamers. So that the other game that they what is it? Destruction's All Stars. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Destruction All Stars. That game failed. That was a launch title. That game failed. So again, it's okay to have your failures. Shout out to what Extreme said. Sony has the absolute right to make those games, and the fans have an absolute right not to play them. But Sony's got to learn. I saw MBG say something like, "Well, Sony's conditioned its fan base to expect big tentpole titles and big games," and it's like, no, dumbass, that's what you expect from Sony. So when he said that on Twitter, I'm thinking, yeah, that's not true. That's just the way he perceives what SIE does. So Corey Massey said they bought Firewalk for the talent of the developer. Yeah, I get that. They did the same with Bungie. So when people like Marlon and MBG and whoever else is like, this is a waste of time, no, they want the talent. They want the talent. Now you can say if all they did was want talent, they overpaid. Okay, fair enough. I'll let that go. But what I'm going to push back on is them thinking that these fanboys, I'm telling you guys that they actually still believe there's a hot console war. And I've been sitting here telling you, and Sick Humor has told you, and King Thrash has told you, that there is no more console war. That's over with. That is over with. Stop listening to your JTech TV. Stop listening to that crap, because in his mind, it's still a hot fight. It's not. It's done. Even Microsoft COO came out and said, we look at Nintendo and Sony as clients, as people we can actually put games from our ecosystem on. Microsoft wants to be the world's largest publisher. They're on their way to do that. I think that's fine. That's what they want to do. But, and I've said this multiple times, they're saying, and again, you get into it with these incels. Let me bring this up. These incels do not want to play games that have women in them that aren't half naked, like Eve from Stellar Blade, like that one girl from I can't think of her name. The girl that's in that stupid game, this First Descendant, that game. They want it in Final Fantasy Rebirth, allegedly. They wanted some girl that calls itself a Tifa. They wanted her to have bigger boobs. I'm like, her boobs they're big enough now compared to her body, you know, but like they're already big compared to her body. But they wanted bigger boobs again, and they are saying why. Because the gaming industry was built around heterosexual white males, and this is what we want. So again, so MBG and Marlon fit right into that. It's like, well, if I don't get what I want, if you don't do what I want you to do, I'm going to just bitch and moan and complain. Yeah, I believe there'll be a GT6 bundle. Again, I'm kind of reading between the lines of what Hip Hop Gamer said. He didn't say there was going to be a GTA 6 bundle. He just simply said that they're working on some things with Rockstar. So that's where I'm leaving it. What I'll simply say to you guys is, if you go back to Sony's show that they did in 2020 called The Future of Gaming, when they introduced the PS5, the first thing Jim Ryan did before we saw any games was that he said that Sony had signed they had a partnership deal now with Rockstar Games. I believe that's what he said, but y'all can double check me. I'll stand corrected. I believe he said something like we have some type of deal. Again, Jim Ryan did a really good job. See, if there is a GTA 6 bundle, it is because of the work Jim Ryan's version of SIE did with Rockstar Games. You know, and Rockstar Games is the one that came out and said, well, they're closer aligned with Sony because Sony wants to make money and so does Rockstar. So of course they are, you know, they're much more aligned with Sony. But that's it. So let's see here. Imagine a GTA 6. Yeah, I've said that. I truly believe that GTA 6 will not be on Series S. Like it would surprise me. If this would like that, it would really surprise me if they got GTA 6 to work on the S. It still might. I mean, Rockstar, that's a hell of a the dev group here they got over there at Take-Two. So I mean, it's a hell of a group they got. So arguably one of the best in the world. So if anybody can make it work on the S, it's them. Again, CD Projekt Red got Cyberpunk to work on the S, so it's possible. It is possible. So, so I want you all to understand that is that Sony will make games like Concord because games like Concord need to be made so that Sony can get the data they need. And okay, it failed. Okay, it's okay to fail. Shout out to what Yoda told Luke Skywalker: failure is the best teacher. Success is not. Shout out to Thomas Edison. It took him 49 times to get the light bulb right. Or in his mind, he said, I found out 49 ways not to make it. If you didn't know, I think Edison, it took him 50 times to get the light bulb to work right. So Sony has released 5 games as a service this year. And because of that, they got a lot of data. 4 of the 5 games have done extremely well. 1 game has not. Concord. That's the truth. That's what we're looking at. So I'm glad that we got the data back, because now Sony will, people are like, Sony just needs to move away from the games as a service. They've only canceled Factions and some stupid game with a clown that calls itself Sweet Tooth. That's it. But all the rest of them have been gone forward. How did you or Hip Hop Gamer come up with 16 teraflops? It's because it's the 32 or 33 teraflops is based on the floating point measurement. So in theory, the PS5 is 32 because you're breaking it into 2. That's where the 16 teraflops comes in. So that's it. That's it. So yeah, that's what I've been saying. The PS5 Pro, if you want to call it that, is going to be 16 teraflops. But out of those teraflops, it's allegedly supposed to be RDNA 3. So those RDNA 3 teraflops act differently than the RDNA 2 teraflops. It's a much more efficient teraflop. So maybe, let's just say in RDNA 2, the PS5 Pro would be, 24 teraflops. I don't know, like at its base point, and then 48 due to floating point. Floating point calculation, you just times it by 2. It's not broken into 2. No, my understanding is it's not. It's that the 33 is based on the floating point, and the 6 is actually 16. But again, if it's going to have RDNA 3 in it, RDNA 3 is much more efficient than RDNA 2. So this is why I keep hearing people say, well, it's going to bottleneck, it's going to do all these things, the CPU isn't fast enough, there's not an increase. Well, what about they'll tell you there's RDNA 3. They'll tell you that. But and possibly for RDNA 3 to work well with their PlayStation, for PlayStation, maybe all they need is a 10% overclock CPU. That's why people crack me up when they talk to you all. They make their stupidity your stupidity. And now you got a bunch of stupid people. I mean, these guys will have 200, 250, 300 people in their chat. And it's like, okay, you're going to make these people dumber. They're not going to be smarter because you talk to them. They're going to be dumber because you talk to them. So, are we considering Concord a failure because it didn't hit on Steam, or because it's... Well, no, we don't know what Sony's metric of success is for Concord. So I have no idea if the game failed. I just know it's not doing as well as the other 4 games, Corey. Again, remember, I'm looking at it as Sony put out 5 games as a service, and 4 of them have done very well. And on top of that, Sony Publishing has done well with Rise of Ronin. It has done well with Stellar Blade. It's got Astrobot coming. They had The Last of Us Part 2 remastered. It did very well. Remember, these guys told you, well, nobody wants that game. Nobody wants this. But then the game comes out. It does very well in Europe and in other parts because people are, again, the problem with a lot of Americans is that we think the world revolves around us, and it doesn't. There's a giant world out there. See what I'm saying? So also, let me add this with the PS5 Pro. It is an AMD kit. It's not a NVIDIA kit. So why? I mean, I was teasing Lincoln Clay the other day when I said the PS5 Pro is going to be more powerful than a 4090. So, which it's not going to be. It's not even in a NVIDIA kit. It's not a NVIDIA kit. So it's going to probably be, closer to a 7700 or 7800. That's where, and again, if you go back to TCL, when it said PS5 Pro on their screen, this was years ago, it said it would be equal to like a 7700 XT, or it was something like that up there. So people do not understand that it has RDNA 3. The first thing they complain about is the CPU not being powerful enough. But the CPU is what, 3.8? It's the PS5 CPU is powerful enough now, and they're doing 60 frames per second. They've got games with ray tracing. They've got games in high to ultra graphic settings. So they keep telling, these guys are podcasters, they're not developers. Most of the games you are playing on your console are GPU bound games, not CPU bound games. So that's the truth. Why these guys keep running around talking about all these games are CPU bound? It's not a whole lot of games that are CPU bound. There's just not. I think Star Citizen is a CPU bound game. Maybe it is. I think it's a CPU bound game. But the CPU bound games are in the vast minority for your console. So, Alexandra, like they were mad at the whole Travis Kelce Taylor Swift thing, and I think Colin Cowherd, he actually works for Fox Sports. He said he watched every video. He gathered, because he had his team gather how much time on air was spent showing video and pictures, so to speak, of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. He said it was like 26 seconds. 26 seconds of time was spent showing Taylor Swift. And these guys were mad. Well, I should be able to enjoy football without looking at her. And you still can. She wasn't hardly being shown. But she is one of the most popular, if not the most popular entertainer in the world right now. So, of course, they're derelict if they don't show her. But they didn't go up there and try to put a camera in her face and try to talk to her. And they did nothing like that. She's dating, just as they do not go up. They will show Simone Biles. I mean, you know Simone Biles' husband. I think he plays for the Bears now. So she will be at his games, and they will show her on the sidelines very briefly. They'll show her very briefly. But she's married to one of the Bears football players. I can't think of his name. But so why not show her? She's there supporting her husband. Why not show Taylor Swift? She's there supporting her boyfriend, who she obviously wants to get married to, because he said publicly he is looking to marry someone. Not that. And it was up to Taylor to make that decision. But yeah, you're right. There's just a bunch of men who don't like women at this point. And that's fine, but you're not going to come into my video game space with your horse shit. Keep that out of my video game space. I don't care. I like playing RPGs. People have asked me this. Why do I prefer playing RPGs? Because that allows me to create my own character. And I can create a character who looks like me. A little bit. Okay, none of them look exactly like me, but now with AI coming, AI may scan my facial features in. Don't they have that with NBA 2K? You can like take your picture and create your character that looks like you. So what's the next step? The next step is the AI would scan your face. It'll scan your face, and then it will go from there. It's like the PlayStation VR. It actually understands how my face is shaped. So Simone is not attractive. That's just a matter of opinion. All that matters is that she's attracted. Her husband's attracted to her. What you think, what I think. I'm in aisle 3. She's in aisle 5. What does she care what I think? Again, the world does not revolve around you. So RDNA 3, they're using 60 compute units. You're trying to figure out how it's 16 teraflops. again, 16 times 2, 16.6 times 2. That's where you get the 3233. The compute unit's totally different. That's a totally different measurement. So PS4 Pro was based on a different kind of architecture. The PS4 Pro is based in the old architecture. I was going to say Vega, but I forgot what it was called. So just, they'll announce it soon enough. We don't have to worry about that. The 5090, which will finally cost $3,000, the video will be going the video is going to be a 4T. Yeah, they got the AI thing right. These companies that are in, I keep on telling you, all invest in AI. Find yourself a nice little AI company and invest. Put 100 on it instead of buying a game. Put 100 on it instead of buying that new controller. Put that money on it. Go from there. So, Shakara Richardson, you think she's hot? Okay, well, I don't, but that's just my opinion. The cut down 7800. That's fine. I mean, it's an APU. See what he's doing? Shout out to Turris, is great. Rob doesn't understand. It's not a GPU, CPU separate. It is an APU. It's already going to be optimized. So if what Mark Cerny does is say, okay, what do you guys need in the next 4 to 6 years? And they say, and Sony may say, we have 3 dev kits we want you to take a look at. And then they go and they give them 3 dev kits, and out of all of them, they will say, well, Rockstar says, well, we want this. Naughty Dog says, well, we want that. Sony Ben says, we want that. Square Enix says, well, we want this. And so they compile all that data and they say, okay, here's the one that the majority of you all want, so here's the one you're going to get. And if the majority one, they were just like, well, the CPU can be a little bit faster. How much faster? Now they got to go in and do all that science, right? So it is what it is. If they're going to be using the Unreal Engine, which is going to be the most used engine, you all have seen those other games coming out for Unreal. So they need more power. If the game's going to be GPU based, they want to have enough plus overhead. And again, we already know through Smart Shift that the CPU can be overclocked, and during the overclocking, the GPU will underclock to help the GPU. That's out. And I still think Sony is leaking this stuff. I mean, I said that months ago. Look, Sony's the one that's leaking this stuff. So Series X showed us teraflops don't matter. Yeah, they don't, but everybody's hung up on them. He was asking how do we come to 16 teraflops? It's because that's the hard number. The floating point number is 16 times 2. So yeah, whatever it is, it's going to be fine. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter what it is. It's cool if people want to know, but I'm just willing to let them come out and tell you exactly what it is. But Moore's Law is dead. Shout out to him. Shout out to Digital Foundry, because they're getting this documentation. And to me, the only group of people that know the documentation better than anybody else is Sony. My personal belief is that Sony is doing this. Sony's the ones that are leaking this stuff. It's like when they investigate if they investigate a leak at the CIA or something like that, usually the person that they put in charge of it is the person that's doing the leaking. I mean, that's the truth, right? That is what happens. Like, oh, we'll put this guy in charge of it. And they're like, well, you're the one that's doing the leaking. So, yeah, multiple devs have said that. We'll move in on that as well. But I just wanted to get the Pro stuff out of the way. We'll get more information on the Pro this month. This month. All we have to do is wait now. We're in in-game now. The information is coming, whether it comes by the end of September. People are saying that we're going to get Sony's going to announce this, and then at Tokyo Gaming Show actually show Kojima's game possibly running on it. We're going to find out if that's what's true or not, okay? That's all I'm saying. We're going to find out. Moore's Law don't even know the GPU they're using. I told plenty of people it's going to be. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And we're again. I believe it's a cut down. I believe it's a cut down of the 77 to 7800, but it's an APU, so it's a combo. That's why I'm like, well, can't we just, this is the way I do my podcast. I will wait and then get the correct information. Then I'll be happy to talk about it. You all can talk about it all day long. So PS5 RX 6700 uses 36, out of 40. Yeah, that's true. That's true as well. That's yeah, you're right. So yeah, I do not get what difference it makes as long as it's optimized and it works good. That's all people want. Hey, look, we just want the game to work well. You know what I'm saying? So but yeah, so it's just that's why I've said before, it's okay to talk about it, but there's no reason to get definitive when we're going to have information coming out in a few more weeks. So is Sony going to do a state of play this month? According to Jeff Grubb, yes. Now Jeff Grubb got the last one correct. It was the last month. It was the last week of that month, but he got it right because everybody's going to violate his cheeks. So people are like, yeah, the bot's going to be down bad after the Pro. Well, the ones who screamed about power, the bots may be down bad this month, according to Hip Hop Gamers. We're going to see. So we're going to find out here. Shout out to Hip Hop Gamer. So just going off of his word on what we're going to see here. Now let's talk about the Black Myth Wukong Sony money hatting. This is actually pretty funny. When Sony sued Microsoft over the Call of Duty deal, Microsoft countersued Sony. And now, going forward, Sony has to show every game that they have a deal with going forward. Black Myth Wukong was not on that list. And Sony had to turn their documents into the FTC. So Sony did not money hat the game. The Series S is the problem. And I can honestly say this now, I never thought we reached a point where even though there's facts out there, there's all these retards out there talking about alternative facts because it makes them feel good. Now, Paul Tassi, is that the guy who broke that? He already walked that thing back. Like, shout out to Jazz or Grind My Gear. He's moonwalking. Yeah, he already moonwalked. So he already moonwalked. So I don't look at it as anything worse than that. He was wrong. Sony can't money hack games because they have to disclose that they have it. It's just something Microsoft says to they don't like the fact that game is out and they can't play it on their console. That's the truth. That's where we gotta leave it. That's where I'm leaving it. I'm like, yeah, you all just mad because these things are out. And again, there's other games skipping it. But shout out to King Thrash, who was saying pretty much, years ago, if Xbox sales continue to tank, that there were going to be other developers skipping the PlayStation. That's what we're getting right now. They're skipping the PlayStation. These developers don't think that model that they're using is going to work. The Game Pass model, they don't think it's going to work for them because they want one-to-one sales, not a bunch. I mean, if I were to download a game and then have it play it for 20 minutes, Microsoft counts it as an MAU. It was just not something that's good. I mean, that's like, no, I just tried it out for 10 minutes. And even Post Up was like, the next console war announced about MAUs. Well, nobody cares about MAUs. Like, nobody. Like the Key Sweat song, nobody cares. The console war is over. And remember, I told you guys months ago, once this thing was over, you were going to have a lot of people in the Xbox community and a lot of people in the PlayStation community they're not going to know what to do. It is the undiscovered country for these guys. So, and go back and watch Star Trek: The Undiscovered Country if you want to understand what I'm talking about. So, let's see here. Xbox fans are hypocrites. Didn't mention pay for Arc 2. Well, again, all of these, both Microsoft and Sony have money had it games. Microsoft money had it Tomb Raider. They money had it Tomb Raider. You know, what was it? Rise of the Tomb Raider? They money had that game for 1 year. So again, it happened. It happened. Like they do it all the time. But what has happened is that all that has happened is, this is what I'm seeing, is that the Xbox community, you need to understand, and this is something I think Porter Rock kind of touched on. So shout out to Porter Rock. He touched on this, and I'm just going to add to it. You have a bunch of Xbox gamers that are now on PC. That has actually happened. That has happened. They have moved over to PC. So now they're saying Sony just needs to put their games on the PC. And I believe they're mad. The PC community is mad and scared of the PS5 Pro. Like that guy Porter Rock was talking about the other day was like, it's going to be expensive. It's going to be real expensive in Japan. Well, who cares? It's in Japan. The Japanese are smart enough to figure out whether they want it or not. So what? It's going to be more expensive in Japan. Okay. Well, it's more expensive in Japan. Okay. And it's going to be more expensive in most places than, you know, other than the United States, which is going to be, it's going to be expensive here too. Yeah, Thanos, that's what's happened. The end of the console war was Thanos sitting in his cabin looking over a, quote, what he said, a grateful universe. And that bothers guys that like a Marlon and an MBG and a J-Tech because they are used to that. You know, they're used to it. Now they got to do something else. Microsoft paid for Arc 2 to skip PlayStation 5 for 3 years. I mean, my whole point is that you're not wrong, but they all do it. They all do it. So why is this so hard when Sony does it? And it's because Sony is doing it because nobody wants to really play Arc 2. That's why. People don't want to play Arc 2. They want to play Black Myth Wukong. So, you know. Yeah, they would have marketed. You're right, Ice Queen. Shout out to Ice Queen. You're right. They would have marketed. They aren't even marketing the game. They're marketing Concord. I've seen them market Concord more than Black Myth Wukong. I've seen them market the Astrobot. I've seen that video, but I've not seen anything on Black Myth Wukong. There's nothing in Black Myth Wukong stuff that says anything PlayStation on it. So that's just the reality of our situation. So, you know, even D-Batch, yes, the Canadian con man was like, look, Sony got sued. Sony has to disclose who they now have their games with. So that's it. The government said, yeah, you all need to disclose this. And even though that's why people like Sony lost that FTC case, but they were able to get Call of Duty for 10 years. So, and apparently there's people playing Call of Duty Black Slop right now. Some are saying it's good. Some are saying it's bad. Like, oh, typical Call of Duty. Some people really like it. Some people don't like it. They would have had the Series X scheduled for launch. Yeah, that's true too. But again, they simply made a device. The Series S is for people who want to. It's the device to help people get into Game Pass. That's it. That's fine. I've said this 100 times. If you don't mind playing at 1080p, 60 frames per second, get a monitor and buy the Series S. A friend of mine, he did that. He's no longer a big time gamer like he used to be. So he bought a Series S. He got Game Pass, and he's like, "Yeah, He bought a very good 1080p monitor, and it wasn't just the regular one. He bought the highest end 1080p monitor he could buy. You know, 144 hertz, all that stuff. So the game, I've seen the games running over there, the Xbox, and the games look good, and he's happy. So that's all that counts. So you don't understand the defensive stance from who? But the PC community is scared of that Pro. They're saying things like, well, you can take $700 and build a decent PC. Like, well, in theory, yeah, you can right now. You can get the 5600 XT, the CPU. You get the 5600 XT for about $129 as part of their Amazon's Labor Day sale. If you're building a PC, I recommend you buy that CPU. I'm going to buy it through their service. You can also get it through to make the payments. That's what I like to do. Make those payments, get that credit up. You see what I'm saying? Slop 6 is good as the Xbox fans, PC players don't. Well, that's, again, my point is that it's okay that they like it. Okay? It's okay that they like it. It's not, I looked at the game. I thought the game, it looked very interesting. I'm actually interested in it, but I don't know if I'm going to go and buy it. If I can just play it on Game Pass. That's what I'll do. It's like Call of Duty 3. Like Call of Duty 3. Okay, Call of Duty 3 for me was a fun game. A lot of people did not like it. I liked the game. Although I wish they had decided to make it longer. But it was just a short game. So it is what it is. So yeah, then why were there no PS5 reviews to the game? Yeah, again, Corey, you're not wrong. That's the reason why is because they had to wait on their copies to hit. And the game is successful. I don't know. Again, people want new IP. You're getting new IP. Astrobot's a new IP. Lego Aloy is a new IP. Rise of Ronin was a new IP. God, I'm gonna say Parasite Eve. My goodness gracious. Stellar Blade is a new IP. Helldivers 2 is a new IP. Grand Blue is a new IP. So why are you all complaining? Why? Well, there's nothing to really complain about. You see what I'm saying? It's disappointing that these guys are like this. You don't think the Xbox players like Call of Duty? They like the Xbox, possibly. Yeah, and Concord's a new IP. So again, I don't. So you got the new IP last year. That was the complaint from guys like Marlin Gaming Nation and other people. Well, where's the new games? Where's the new games? Where are our new games? Now you got them, and now now they're still complaining. That's why I said before, with guys like that, it doesn't matter if they say where the demos. They say, okay, they'll say something like, we need to see what the game looks like. Then they see the game. Well, the game looks like trash. Okay. Then they get a demo of the game. Then they scream, where's the demo? Well, the demo is trash. Then after the demo is in their hands, they say, well, when we get in the release date? When we get in the release date? So they're constantly trying to drive things, and I just call bullshit on them. I don't listen to them anymore. So this is why people are like, why did I quit listening to Marlon? That's why, because he's one of these type of dudes. So it is, first these type of guys say, where are the games? Then they see the games. So the games are like trash. Okay? The game is trash. And then you get people, then he screams, where's the demo? Where's the demo? We need to see the game. We need to see what the game is doing. Gets the demo. This is trash. Then it becomes, when are we going to release date? When are we getting the release date? When are we getting the release date? And then then the game goes gold to get the release date. Well, I hope it's not delayed. I hope it is good. It could be delayed. I mean, if this sounds familiar to you, put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if this sounds familiar to you. And then once the game is out, now it's, oh my goodness, Sony, oh my God, I can't believe this. Oh, this is so good. Oh, Sony, oh, Microsoft, oh man, Microsoft saved gaming. Microsoft saved, I mean, that's what you're dealing with. It's like, okay, I'm really trying to explain to you guys, like, well, this is why I quit listening to that guy. Okay, I'm not going to name call him. I'm not going to call him out of his name. I've learned my lesson on that, but I can't do it. I can't do it. You see, so I'm like, well, you know what? It ain't good for my health to listen to people like this. So, and yeah, they may not play games, but Black Myth Wukong did not get money had it. It is exactly what the developer said. It is the PlayStation, it is the Series S being mandated. And it wouldn't shock me if I mean, again, I'm going to tell you two things about Grand Theft Auto that I believe could happen. Number one, I believe that it will not be on the Series S, that Microsoft will capitulate and say, don't put it on the Series S. If they do, it'll be like 600p. Then I'm going to say this. I believe Sony will get some type of earlier access to that game, whether it's a week, whether it's 2 weeks, whether it's a month. But you have to understand the Xbox community is in essence a de facto PC community because of Game Pass. So now they're just like, well, I'm just going to wait for it to go to Game Pass. That's what the PC community does. Well, I'll just wait for Spider-Man 2 to come on PC. Yeah, but it's not coming this year. We're going to announce it sooner or later. Okay. All right. You know. He also said Avowed looked good till the news came out about being 30 frames. Yeah, again, that's you all's guy. I don't listen to him. The constant flip-flopping, depending on who is in his audience, I can't do it. But I'm not going to sit up here. If that's what works for him, and he is getting more subs, he is getting whatever his goal is, whatever his metrics of success is, if he's getting that, then that's fine. That is fine. What is GOW? That God of War is coming this month? Oh, for PC? Yeah, well, Ragnarok has been out for PlayStation 5 for what? Close to 2 years? That's about right. So, you don't think Switch's library has been all that great? It's great to them because they're the #1 selling console in the world. Again, their library simply does not appeal to you, and that's fine. Gears of War hasn't been good since Epic sold it. I disagree, but okay. It's still the gameplay has been just as good. The characters aren't as engaging. That's different though. They always whine and bitching and moaning because their goal is to get clicks and views. You cannot get that if you're waiting on information. I personally believe that people said Microsoft saved gaming because Microsoft actually came out and showed information. The problem is that the issue that I'm seeing is that is that these guys are dependent on Microsoft and Sony for information. So they just look at it like, you know, Sony needed to do the same thing. They need to give us a showcase. So again, Sony doesn't have to give you a showcase to show you what they have. They'll have a state of play, which again, I don't have an issue with state of play. Like, I truly don't have issues. He tweeted 4K 60 would be the standard. Again, yeah, he did, because that wasn't up to him. That's up to the developer. That's a good point. That's a legitimate point about what Greenberg did. I agree 100%. So, let's see here. Because it's not. That's why I'm glad Mark Cerny said what he said when he broke down the PlayStation 5. He said, now we're going to see what the developers decide to use on this. Will it be ray tracing with the sound? Will it be the frames? Will it be graphics? They gave them the tools to choose what they want. So state of play can be, state of play for me has been, but I understand what it is. See, these idiots, they get online and they say it's going to be a huge show because they color what they want it to be with what they want it to be. Sony has already said it's a short wave of information that they can get out to its consumers to kind of see where things are and what they're doing. That's what it is. That's what it is. And that's what it's always been. It is guys like MBG and Marlon and people like that who want to run around and say it's going to be bigger than that. That's it. That's the truth. I mean, we saw Stellar Blade. At a what? State of play, I believe. We saw Rise of Ronin at a state of play. We saw Grand Blue at a state of play. We saw the God of War DLC at a state of play. That was free, by the way. So, we saw Helldivers 2 at a state of play. So I'm to a point now where this is simply about these guys' channels, these guys not having a whole lot to talk about, these guys saying things like, Sony's not giving me enough information to get you hyped up. That's just the reality we're dealing with. Microsoft saved gaming because they actually put out what games they were going to have. And again, all those games are going to be on Xbox Game Pass. That's why they showed them. Maybe a handful won't be. But all those, the 18 games out of Microsoft showed 30 games. 18 of those 30 they showed were multi-plat games. But Microsoft did a good job of connecting themselves to it, and there's nothing wrong with that. And there's a very good chance Microsoft has deals with those games. They probably have a deal with Expedition 33. Nothing wrong with that. Base PS5 going head to head. What do you think the Pro? Let me go back to that question. We're in a Q&A right now because I got something to do at about 11:30. I gotta go get my haircut. So, and Microsoft's getting away with literal false advertisement. Has Towerborn listed as day one Game Pass. Game Pass PC. Game Pass PC. I think Towerborn will be on that, but I'm not sure. So, yeah, it's a quiet Sony and a micro. Corey's right. It's a quiet Sony, and it's a Microsoft that doesn't want to fight the console war. It's going to end this online community. You're right. I agree. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. Oh, by the way, if you all are interested in UAPs, I'm going to do my first UAP show on Thursdays. The only time I'll do gaming podcasts on Thursday now is if there's major information that's out the day of or something like that. But I'm gonna do UAP Thursday going forward. I'm gonna wanted to pick out a day to do it. So I'm doing it. If you're interested in that will be on Rumble, Twitch, and Twitch. I'm not gonna do that on YouTube. If you're on my Rumble or Twitch, that's where you'll find those podcasts. So I want to start building those audiences. So, yeah, they split the series consoles memory pool. Yeah, they that was not a good idea. So I agree. It sure as hell didn't help things. Yeah. Y'all are too dependent on news cycles for entertainment. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Yeah, and YouTube pays out a ridiculous amount of money to people who do that. Like I said, I follow a YouTube couple, and they just bought a $5.5 million home with the YouTube money they got. That guy said the biggest check they got from YouTube, they actually thought it was wrong, but they got over $98,000 in 1 month off of YouTube. Okay? They got $98,000 in 1 month. And he said that year they averaged about $106,000 a month. So do the math. They're millionaires now. They're millionaires. So, and they bought, and their home shows it. They bought a home with a vineyard, and they bought a home that has a chicken coop in it so they can have fresh eggs. Their house is humongous. So has everything but a swimming pool. So yeah, I agree. Lucian Sky, appreciate. Oh yeah, you're fine. You're fine. Let's see here. Lucian Sky saying y'all don't understand the Series X is the Pro. No, Microsoft said that. Microsoft said that their Pro console is the Series X. They said it. They just launched it at the same time. Look, I had a Series X. It's not a terrible or bad console. The problem is that the console is not what these fanboys said it was going to be. It's doing exactly what the developers wanted to do. And I don't understand why that's so bad. But because Dealer Gaming and D-Batch and Colt Eastwood and Mr. Boomstick said it was going to do another thing, it's in the people's eyes, it's failing. I played it. I told you guys, hey, this is really cool. If you want to go back and play a bunch of old games, I mean, I'm not making fun of it. There are a lot of guys. A friend of mine, he retro games. That's what he does. He plays a bunch of old games. He's like, yeah, these games today are cool, but he prefers that retro system. There's an entire group of gamers that do nothing but retro gaming. They're in the United States. They're in Brazil. They're in England. They're all over the world. So I didn't have an issue with it. And like I said, I got mine. I had a $150 gift card, so I paid $350 cash for mine, give or take. So Powerborn is not day one on Game Pass PC. Neither. Oh, it's not, okay. I thought it was on PC. So, look, I'm all for black men being successful. Okay, I'm not. That's why I'm like, I'm not gonna. All I can do is say whether I support them or not. I support all brothers out here trying to be successful. Doesn't mean I have to like how they're doing it. Okay, you know, just because I know what you're doing doesn't mean I like how you're doing it. That's good money. Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. So, yeah, that's very good money. I mean, that's good money for this 1 month. Can you imagine? Shout out to Tommy Sotomayor. He said the biggest check he got off YouTube was like $75,000. That was in 1 month. I think he said it was 70 grand. It's something like that. And it's kind of like, oh, he was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. So, yeah. I mean, he did an interview on This Might Be Risky. So it was actually pretty cool. So, I feel bad for all dummies who switch from from 1X to Series S. Yeah, I said before, people that are collectors, they may have Series S's because there are people who buy all the consoles. They collect them. That's who they are. They're collectors. Like, we got Star Trek collectors, we got Star Wars collectors, we got G.I. Joe collectors. So it is what it is. What do I think now that the State of Play coming to PS5 Pro bundle? We'll have to wait and see. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see if we get something like. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more Assassin's Creed Shadows and stuff like that. I'm sure that'll be a Tokyo Gaming Show as well. So, since it's based in Japanese lore, but we'll find out about it. So. And I've said before, my favorite console is the Xbox 360, although the PS5 is in the same neighborhood. But the 360, probably because that had some of my favorite games, from Dragon Age to Fallout to Mass Effect it was a bunch of RPGs. It had its share of shooters and fighters as well. Sony's the ones who went with this over the behind the shoulder single player games that again look very good. I mean, I still remember seeing Uncharted 2 at that showcase, and I'm like, damn, that actually looks pretty good. So I'm like, man, that showed somewhere. It showed Nathan Drake like sliding across that rope, busting through that window. It was cinematic. Went right to gameplay. There was no loading. It just did it. Metal Gear 4, which allegedly is coming back out now, and it's going to be multi-plat. So again, Sony does not own Konami. Konami put its last 3 Metal Gear games, because people forget about that one that was real short, that he was in Cuba. They put Metal Gear 5 on there, that Metal Gear, and then Metal Gear Raiden. That was on Xbox. So their last 3 Metal Gear games have been on Xbox. You know, Sony money had it, Silent Hill 2 as well. People got to remember that. But Sony helped them develop it. So part of getting Sony's money is, well, we want it to be 6 months timed exclusive. So the 1X is the one that can do 4K. Yeah, it can. It can. You know, but we'll see. Sony hasn't officially announced the PS5 Pro yet. So the people who are saying, oh, well, no, they haven't announced it yet, it's not real. And it's just like, you know, well, they don't, you know, your people out here saying, well, what's the need for it? Again, it's for gaming enthusiasts. So it's just like you have a camera. You go to a camera store, or you go to Best Buy where they have cameras set up, and you say, I want to look at the amateur cameras. They'll say, well, this one and this one and this one. And these over here and over there, so to speak, those are for the hardcore. Those are for the hardcore guys, okay? But for you to be an amateur photographer, start with one of these. You know, you start with one of these. But you know, you thought the Series S was stronger. Oh, well, I don't think Microsoft did say that the Series S was a 1440p machine, and there's a handful of games that are 1440p, but all they have to do is have one game that's 1440p, and they can just say it's 1440p. That's what they've done. That's what they've done. So it is called deceptive marketing. It's actually legal. It is actually legal to do it. It does again, but again, doesn't mean they should do it. I agree with that. So, oh, you're all in on Wolverine. Yeah, that's going to be it. That's going to be it. So, yeah, a lot of people are looking forward to Wolverine. I'm wondering how that game is going to even play. What I think about the Star Wars Outlaw, I'm enjoying it, but I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm enjoying it, but I like the Syndicate stuff. That's the stuff that's in Extended Universe. These crime syndicates, the Pike, Crimson. If it makes any difference, Darth Maul was the leader of Crimson Dawn. Okay? He's the leader of Crimson Dawn. So if you watch the movie Solo, one of the members of the group that helped steal that, whatever they were stealing, one of the members of that group is from Crimson Dawn. But you got the Hutch, you got the Pike Syndicate, you got Crimson Dawn. It is. I mean, it just it's a totally different way to play a Star Wars game. It's almost like you're Han Solo. That's who she is. She's even got the black jacket and blaster that looks like Han Solo's. So, and again, she's got a grappling hook, very Laura Croft, very, Nathan Drake, very Aloy. I mean, it's just, there's nothing in the game you haven't done before. It's just that it's based in Star Wars. That's it. So I'm enjoying it. Get ready for the $700 PS5 Pro. Well, just make sure you have that $700 around ready to go. Because you may, like Hip Hop Gamer said, there's going to be accessories with it that you may like. Now, if it's all digital, I recommend that you go ahead and you buy, let me say that again, you need to go ahead and you buy the CD player. It's only $70 right now. I'm going to buy it. $70. So now I might be able to just go to Best Buy and get it. But Amazon, I like paying for it on time. That builds credit. So, new Xbox 2 terabyte stripper glitter is $600. Yeah. But again, my understanding with the latest report is that PlayStation is going to, the new PS5 is only going to be 1 terabyte. So what I've told all the people who listen to me is this: if you have $700 ready, you'll be fine. Because even if it's only $599, which I think will be great, or $499, you still have an extra $250 to get the accessories. Because it's going to have better sound, so they're going to have another headset. They're going to I say that they're more than likely going to have another headset. So they're going to have, more than likely, they may put out another 1 terabyte. Because people who don't have the extended terabyte like me, the extended memory, I'm going to go ahead and get another terabyte of memory, because again, the games are getting so damn big, you need to get the extra space. So, am I still going to do this debate about Harris, Trump, and to do the debate? What debate? Well, I mean, do a show on the debate? No, I'm not going to do a show. I'm just watching the polls. There are other people who are going to watch the debate, though. But again, as I said this before, why a group of men want to watch Kamala Harris and they swear up and down they're not voting for her, that to me makes no sense to me personally. That's just my personal opinion. So, really, anyone on Xbox is playing Star Wars? Really? Didn't know that. Okay. Didn't know that. It's Star Wars. The marketing deal for Outlaws is with Xbox. I don't know if people know that or not. So I saw three or four commercials watching college football yesterday. I saw 3 or 4 commercials of Outlaws, and each one was connected to Xbox, which again I don't have an issue with. So, but yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. 150 in Australian, okay. The Hawk says he needs the Pro in his life. Yeah, I'm seeing people say that. It's just being silly. I think they're just being silly. So. But yeah. She can never remove what her policies are. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not voting for her, so I'm not going to vote for her. So I mean, hopefully she's answering the questions on her policies. But if she's not, and you're voting for her, maybe you have a problem with it. I don't know. So the first word here says he can just play Ark Survival Ascend till Wolverine. They don't need nothing. Okay. Well, suddenly Wolverine does what you all are wanting it to do. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, Component. I've been deleting games. That's what I have to do. Now I didn't have to delete for Call of the Mountain. Is that what it's called? I didn't have to delete for Call of the Mountain, but that's it. So yeah, Mufasa the Lion King. Isn't that a prequel? And then Sonic. I think the Sonic movie. Those are going to go head to head. Yeah, that's good. They're putting out children's movies in December. Go figure. Yeah. But all right, guys, I'm gonna jump on off here. It's 10 to 11. I do need to get some other things done. I do appreciate you all showing up. You all have a good one, like I said before, and a good discussion. And I will talk to you guys later.